What do you see the board's role in being in setting policies, strategy, vision that governs investments?
PERS is so big that it is going to track the market. And so the question becomes, what markets do you track? How much do you put in the stock market? How much do you put in real estate? How much do you put in fixed income? How much do you put in commodities? How much do you put domestically? How much do you put internationally? Within real estate, how much do you put in apartment buildings versus shopping centers versus office buildings? So that is the asset allocation decision. Where do you put your assets? Because that's really what's going to drive it. And so the board needs to think about that. It needs to think about the interrelationship between those assets, because they don't all move at the same time. And that's part of where you get your diversification and your risk reduction, is by being in assets that move differently at different times. And I think one of the things that I bring to the board is the fact that I have a BA in economics and an MBA in finance, and I have the CFA, the Chartered Financial Analyst designation. I've worked in equities, I've worked in fixed income, I've worked in real estate, and so I understand those markets and understand that allocation process.
As I'm sure you know, the California Foundation for Fiscal Responsibility has filed an initiative, and they are now hoping to collect signatures to get on the ballot a measure that would pare benefits down for newly hired state and local employees in government. Where do you stand on that proposal?
I'm against it, is the short answer. I think what they are ignoring is the trade-off that's been made for deferred compensation for current compensation. I know that part of what they are doing is taking advantage of the current political environment. As people have lost defined benefits and have been forced into 401ks, and when the market, did what it did, people said, well, how could, you got this good thing, how come I don't have it? They took it away from me, we got to take it away from you. I will point out that even while corporate America was taking away from working folks, they kept it for CEOs. The formula that they have proposed is actually very close to the current Tier 2 retirement that the state offers. And the state's contribution to Tier 2 versus the Tier 1 formula is actually a difference of 0.2%. So I don't think they really have thought through what they are trying to do. And I will tell you that if you cut the pension benefits in half, people are either not going to come to the state or they're going to demand more money. The state will always be able to hire in a recession, but you can't run the state only during recessions. You got to run it year-round.
Talking about investments, returns, and the viability of the fund, are things fine as they are?
As Ron Sidley pointed out, if we continue like last year, the answer is no. But I think over the long term, looking at normalized investment returns, I think that we have a sustainable formula. I will admit that the 3% at 50 for the CHP officers obviously creates some problems. It's a very rich formula. And a lot of public agencies have it as well. But one of the things that people tend to forget is that those people in those formulas are not covered by Social Security. So there's roughly 7% that the employer is not putting into Social Security that can be used to help fund the pension benefits. And I had the numbers here. For CHP this year, the rate is 28% versus basically 17% for the Tier 2 miscellaneous. So you can see that the 7% Social Security makes a big chunk.
You just mentioned the 3% at 50 for CHP, and you said that it was rich. I believe that was the term you used. So what are you saying? Should that be changed? Should that be revisited? What's your feeling?
Yeah, my preference would have been that they had not adopted that formula. But once they have, you've got a problem. One, current employees have a vested right to it, and so they're going to be there. If you adopt a new formula for new safety folks, you've then got people working together who are getting paid differently.